How you doing, Chiwetel?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Good to speak to you again. I really enjoyed the movie. I know we haven't got too long, so I'm just going to get straight into it today. So I just wanted to
Sure.
know, firstly, how you just came to be aware of the story of Rob Peace and what made you think, right, this is one I've got to tell.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I read the book not long after it came out, actually. So before I was sort of involved in a kind of, an official capacity. And I just loved it. I just thought it was really, it sort of spoke to all the things that I had been sort of thinking about in a slightly disorganized way, just about some of the structural realities, for some people. And people from this kind of community and this sort of dynamic. And I was interested in understanding more about these kinds of the kind of the sort of complexity of these systemic realities, I think. And Rob's story for a generation, I think, really spoke to right through from the 80s, right through to sort of more or less the modern day, really spoke to some of the pressures that exist in society, and that this kind of brilliant young man is caught up in all of these sort of systemic issues. So
Mm.
I was really moved by Jeff Hobbs and what he'd done and what he'd said about Rob and how he chose to tell the story of his roommate at Yale, and I thought it was just a very emotional, very insightful story.
I asked a sort of similar question actually to recently to Dev Patel, who also wrote, directed, and starred in a project, which was just sort of how overwhelming a project like this can be when you're so involved. I mean, I imagine a film like this just takes over your life for this kind of sustained period of time. So, what's it like when it kind of comes to an end? Is it quite relieving? Is there a sense almost of like loss, a kind of what do I do with my time now sort of feeling? What does it feel like to get to the end of something this all encompassing?
Well, it hasn't ended.
No,
Is the reality, that it kind of it changes form, from the moment that I read the book, from the moment that Antoine Fuqua and Rebecca Hobbs asked me to come on board to adapt it, to direct it. It's been a journey. It's been a continuing journey of exploration, and that goes right through the writing process, into the directing process, into sort of editorial, and then into this process of talking about it and getting excited about people seeing it and being able to have conversations about it. So it's an ongoing process, but it's one that I find incredibly fulfilling because I just think the material is so rich. What it's talking about and what it's talking to is to me so important and has such kind of value in conversation and in storytelling, in drama. So for all of those reasons, it's like it's a continuing and ongoing thing, but I'm excited about it.
I was interested to know what, because obviously it's your sort of second showing in a kind of feature film as from behind the lens. What do you think you've kind of learned as a director from The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind? Do you think as a filmmaker you've kind of come into the second project just that bit more refined, perhaps?
I think that's probably true. I feel like you don't, you just sort of, when you're making your first film, you don't know what you don't know, so you're kind of going in there very sort of blind and you have all of these kind of, you're receiving all of this information, and that can be, I mean, it's exhilarating, it's exciting, it's hard work, but I think coming into the second project, you sort of have a bit more of an understanding of what's involved, of how far you're going to need to go to get the project out there, and that is useful. I think that the danger is, of course, that you end up thinking that it's going to be a carbon copy of the first thing, and actually, what you discover is that there are a whole host of different challenges that you are then encountering, and that actually, I think that's something that you'll encounter always. That every film has similarity, but it is so unique and so different that you can't. There's no sort of methodology to an approach or a way of kind of shortcutting the fact that you're just going to have to roll up your sleeves and get involved in every moment of it as an individual project.
Yeah. I mean, the performances in this are so excellent. I love Jay in the lead role, but I thought Mary J. Blige really had such an impactful role here, because despite kind of limited screen time, she kind of had such a lasting effect, which is usually the sign of such a gifted kind of actor. She's just amazing. I remember buying the single to Family Affair when I was like 13, and I've been in awe of her ever since. She must have been so thrilled to have got her on board on this project.
I mean, totally. You know, she's iconic, you know, and that's like, I don't use that term lightly. You know, she is an icon. And I think what she brings to the screen is so incredible. It's so detailed, it's so honest, and she has this a rawness to her. And I think when she responded to this material, it was from that point of view. You know, this is a world and a negotiation, I think, as a character that she really deeply understands. And so right from the beginning, you know, because we were in pre-production, you know, in the lead up to the pandemic, so everything got shut down for like a couple of years, and she stayed with the project. She was completely engaged in it, you know, and I really have an enormous amount of respect and credit for her, you know, for just for being there for us through all of that kind of hectic time, and then delivering such an incredible, nuanced, exciting performance in the midst of it. And as you mentioned as well, Jay is so brilliant, you know, and a real kind of a real sort of discovery, you know, that of an actor that has an enormous capacity, and to carry a film like this in the way that he did, you know, was really impressive.
Yeah, well, it's a sign of a good director as well to get those performances out of your cast. Thank you so much, Chiwetel, speaking to me today, and best of luck with the release of the movie as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers. Take care. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!